Guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see from the title, background, and thumbnail, we are talking about Eli Roth's new movie, Ice Cream Man. So, this is a funny, weird story with this movie. A couple months ago, when I first started the channel again, I posted my Eli Roth Ice Cream Man trailer reaction, and that thing shot up to, I think it's sitting at almost 800 views now. Never expected that shit. Never expected that shit. But, Eli Roth's one of those directors. He's hit or miss with me. He's like Rob Zombie. He can make a really good horror movie. He can make a really shitty horror movie. One of my personal favorites from his, I do love the first two Hostel films. They're gnarly, they're nasty, but they're I know what I'm getting into when I watch those Hostel films. No different than I know what I'm getting into when I watch something like The Devil's Rejects or House of a Thousand Corpses from Rob Zombie. And I really loved his film Thanksgiving that we got a couple years ago. I thought it was a badass slasher film that was unique. That was actually a kind of it's a stereotypical slasher film, but it was just so cool to see a other different holiday theme that wasn't Christmas, that wasn't Halloween, that wasn't Valentine's Day, Thanksgiving. And I am curious, where the fuck is the sequel, Eli Roth? And then of course, he made Borderlands, which I don't really count that on him. That movie's awful, but if you read all the behind the scenes shit, they kind of tweaked that movie and kind of Zack Snydered it and shit. So I'm like, I don't really blame him for that, but that movie's not good. So he has a hit or miss track record for me. Cabin Fever was okay. Don't really care to watch The Green Inferno. Don't really care to watch that. So he has a hit or miss track record with me. And so, when he came out with this Ice Cream Man concept, I'm like, you know what? Okay, I'm down for that. That's one thing about Eli Roth I will always give him credit for. He is a true and true 80s horror fan. And he's going to make shit that's very similar to 80s horror, whether it's schlocky, whether it's great, whether it's bad, whether it's good. He's going to make something in the realm of that 80s genre. And so when I saw the trailer, as you can see my trailer reaction that I posted, I thought it was gonna look fine. It was gonna look decent. It looked like a little, 80s gore fest kind of a movie. And so, on Monday, I think they had the AMC Screen Unseen, which I usually go to, but this time I skipped out on it, which I wish I didn't. I could have covered the movie earlier. But after that, the movie came out and people were just shitting on it. People were like, this movie has AI on it. This is one of the worst films of the year. The dialogue's bad. This is bad. That's bad. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, shit, that's not good. you know, and I was like, well, shit, I'm going to go see it. I'm going to go form my own opinion, but that's not good when you hear AIs in the film and people shitting on it and it's not great. And I'm like, man, that could have sucked because we could have had a really cool little unique horror film from Eli Roth that's kind of similar to Thanksgiving, where it's just its own unique thing. So I got out of the theater yesterday. And honestly, I'm not going to lie. Is it terrible? No. Is it as bad as people are saying? Not at all. Was it just okay? Yeah, it's right in the little sweet spot of just being like, it's not terrible, it's not great either. It's just in the little sweet spot of being middle. And this is also his first movie in this new production company that he started called the Horror Section. They had a couple of trailers for some other films in this same company Horror Section that look a little interesting. One was involving strippers, which was all right. But so this is the first film in his horror selection company, and he's writing, he's directing, he self-financed the fucking thing, and I thought for the longest time this was also very similar to the original movie Ice Cream Man. It's not a remake of that. Okay, is it an adaptation of the Ice Cream Man? It's not an adaptation of the Ice Cream Man comic book. It's its own thing. Which, if you look at those source materials, the original and that comic book, they're very similar to this. So I'm like, for this being a quote unquote original project, this really isn't original because you have two other predecessors that have the exact same template pretty much. So again, walked out of the film, didn't think it was bad. Didn't think it was bad at all. Do I hate the AI uses in this film? Fuck yeah, I do. Fuck yeah, I do. You can clearly tell it is like, and I won't lie. The whole backstory for the Ice Cream Man was interesting when we talked about it in the film. But again, it just sucked me out of it because the whole backstory for the Ice Cream Man is used with AI. It's all AI shit. And that's the thing. Just outside of that one sequence everybody was bitching about, the whole movie's riddled with AI. There's AI imagery, there's AI art, there's AI this. And to some degree, I'm like, okay, I can pass. I can pass on some AI art. That's fine. If you want to use AI art to make your little Ice Cream Man logo or this or that, that's fine. What I don't like is when you use AI as CGI. That's when it looks bad, it looks fake, and that's what the whole backstory for the Ice Cream Man was. It was just polished in CGI, and I didn't like that. Didn't like that at all. Um, and I will say too, for this being a gore fest, this is like Eli Roth to a max of gore. It's putting Terrifier, it's putting these other things to shame because of just how gory it is. At first, it was cool to see some of the gore. It was like, okay, we're actually going there. Holy shit, this is badass to see some kids fuck up some adults. But after a while, it lost its appeal for me. Where like, no, I was no longer like, oh, I was like, okay, cool. Like it just because the gore is being shoved down in your throat and in your face so aggressively, you kind of just get numb to it after a while and it loses its appeal. And I hate that, because I love gore in my horror films. Like Terrifier, I love that shit. If you can give me a creative, gory slasher kill or just a really creative, gory kill in a horror film, I will love it. But again, when your whole movie, every 2 or 3 minutes, every 5 minutes, you're just shoving me with gore and people plucking brains out, people sucking on eyeballs, people, all that shit, it loses its appeal after a while. And then I just get numb to it. And it's like, okay, it's no longer fun anymore. It's just, okay, here we go, some more shit, you know. And again, most of the film is all child actors. So you have some really good child actors and you have some really bad child actors. Um, and I thought they were fine. I'm not gonna judge them because they're just kids. They're doing their job. But what's funny? I kept thinking about the whole film. Everyone kept saying this is just a knockoff of Weapons. This is just a knockoff of other horror films. What this mainly reminded me of, outside of just the whole, I see the Weapons parallel. With the Ice Cream Man being the witch from Weapons, and he's controlling the kids, she was controlling the kids. I see the parallels. But what I see more of a parallel is the movie Mom and Dad with Nicolas Cage. That's what it reminded me more of, where it's the opposite, where the parents are going after the kids. This one's the kids going after the parents. That's what it reminded me of. The same premise of just the parents snapped one day, the whole town was going after these kids, and blah blah. So if anything, I get the Weapons comparison. I see more Mom and Dad comparison. Like I said, I like the concept of the film. I really do. I like the whole idea of this Ice Cream Man, and I liked his backstory. But again, his backstory was just riddled with AI imagery, and it sucked me right out of it. I do like the design for some of the kills, so they were great. But like, yeah, I mean, it's not much to say because the movie's just very meh. You know what I mean? It's just a very meh movie. So like, I definitely wouldn't say go out in the theaters and watch this. This is definitely a straight to streaming kind of film, but it's just disappointing, man. Because it's like Eli Roth, you have like again, he's just like Rob Zombie. He has so much potential. He has so many things in him that I'm like, that's great, that's great, that's great. He just needs somebody else with him to kind of flesh out these ideas. Again, if this movie was wrote and maybe directed by somebody different, which is Eli Roth as like a co-writer, I think this movie could have been maybe something better. But the fact that is, it's just a very middle of the road. Seen this before, nothing new other than just it has Eli Roth sprinkled on it, and that's not nothing really like to write home about. So yeah, it's just disappointing because I mean, I could tell he had a really lot of passion in this film. I've seen a lot of interviews with him, and he just has this like really passionate drive for the Ice Cream Man for some reason. Like there's just something in him that he's just like, I've always wanted to make this film, I always wanted to do this thing. And it sucks to know that people are hating on it because it's riddled with AI, which I definitely agree. A big budget movie, no matter small, big, whatever other movie that's going to the theaters, I don't want AI in it. But the fact that it's just so mediocre, I'm like, for you being so passionate about this film, you just pumped out a mediocre product. Where Thanksgiving, I could tell you were more passionate about, and you pumped out a not so mediocre product. You pumped out something kind of unique and kind of, while it's similar, but it's something that I'm like, I appreciate that more than I would Ice Cream Man. So yeah, guys, again, not much to say, but it's a horror film. It's a Eli Roth film. So you guys jump in the comments. You let me know, what do you think of this movie? Did you hate it? Did you love it? I'm just seeing nothing but hate discourse. So I'm gonna assume most of you people didn't like it. But hey, there might be a couple people like me who thought it was okay. So you guys jump in the comments. You let me know. You do your likes, your comments, subscribes, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.